Excellent, excellent. I also get the pleasure of introducing Flo Karuna, aka Nature Flo. How are you, my friend? It's a
Hey,
pleasure to
pretty
meet you,
good.
brother.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm going to read your bio real quick, and I know we're a little bit behind, so I'm going to let you go right into what you do. So, Flo Karuna is a world and soul traveler that journeyed throughout the planet with miracles occurring through intuition and faith. He has been referred to as a channel for Earth consciousness and is passionate about sharing new offerings that unify the planet for the next 7 generations and beyond. His life has been dedicated to empowering others, the teachings of Mother Earth, and connecting other galactic realms. That's incredible. He is the creator of the group Oracle Master of Light and the Palladian Starseed Oracle deck. He is also the founder of Star Codes, which offers star seed activations. To find out more about his work, which we will put in the comments in a little bit, you can go to www.star that's a it's like a hyphen there,
It's a dash.
codes.com dash. That's it. I was looking for it. But my friend, I will leave it to you. I am so amped to hear what you're going to say and what you have to do.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity to hear my life experience and share some information with all you beautiful souls. I just first off want to thank Portal to Ascension for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank Neil, and most importantly, want to thank each and every one of you for showing up at this time where we're remembering, remembering our galactic knowledge, remembering who we are as greater beings. And I honor each and every one of you for showing up today, for showing up on this earth plane as incarnated beings to come together and experience something great. So sending that love, and there's a lot to share today, so I'm just going to jump into it. I have 40 minutes, so okay. So my name is Flo Karuna. I go by the artist name Nature Flo, and my journey, I've been on this spiritual journey of awakening. But one experience that stood out in my life experience was I had a spontaneous awakening. I was on a downtown crowded street in Toronto, Canada during a festival, a night festival. So the streets were crowded with people on the sidewalks, there were cars everywhere. And a good friend of mine, Andrea, she echoed certain words that forever shifted my consciousness. And she was a poet. And I was constantly asking her to share her poetry with me over the previous months beforehand. And every time I asked her to share her poetry, she shyly turned it down and said, I'm not ready to share. So that night in that downtown intersection with so much energy, I got, I guess, one of my first intuitions, which was instead of asking her for the entire poem, could you just give me one sentence? And she echoed the words, "We are all one." And as soon as I heard those words, my entire consciousness expanded. I felt the intersection come alive. I felt all the people around me. I felt the cars. I felt the rotation of the earth. And that day, I naturally became a psychic. I started to sense people's thoughts in that moment. I started to sense people's energies. And my life has never been the same since that. Eventually, that experience on this journey of evolution started to awaken my past lives, like many of us have done. And in particular, it led me to the galactics. It led me to working with these star beings, galactic souls who have so much information and so much energy to share with the collective during these times. So my work is on Star Codes, the website star-codes.com, and I'm the founder, and we activate multi-dimensional experiences, and we also offer a 7-week course to connect to specific star races. We each week we work with a different star race to learn about their history on the planet and to enter into an activation to remember. And that's what I'm about. I'm about remembering because we already have the information built into us. And it's not about finding something, but it's reclaiming that information that has been lost in the course of gravitational amnesia. So there's a lot for me to share today, and I know I have limited time, so let's get into it. But before we get into it, I working with the star councils, working with the galactics, we have a way of operating in council. And council is the way of this new time. We are in the time of group consciousness, where back in the previous spiritual cycles, it was more about the individual seeker finding enlightenment or finding that source by himself, disconnected from society. And as we enter this new cycle that I like to call the cycle of the feminine, and we're coming out of the cycle of the masculine, the rules of this time have changed. And it's very community orientated. It's very in-body orientated. It's very connecting with your fellow beings and sharing your medicine. This is why many of the medicine keepers, many of the teachers, it's not the time to withhold information because everybody is ready in this time. And as I work with the galactic councils who are in council, I thought it would be good today for us to start an energetical council because we are creating earth councils on planet Earth. And one of my personal missions is to seed these earth councils and come into the collective sharing. So I invite you all to just gently close your eyes, and we're going to tune into our pineal gland center, third eye region. And I'm asking for the galactics to be present. I'm calling upon all your higher selves, soul mastery, remembrances to be present as we feel this pineal gland region, the center of our forehead, inviting you to feel some light or energy here. And as we do so, inviting us all now to connect our sacred energies through our pineal glands. So we open up a council, an earth council, for us to exchange information, for us to pass forth our teachings to one another, for we are out of the age of the guru and we are in the age of collective consciousness. And when we activate these pineal gland networks where we all share information, it allows us as starseeds to remember. And I work with many galactic beings, and some of the beings I work with are the Lyrans, or the feline beings. And they often tell me to remember is to member, which means communion with the other members of our species and earth plane. And as we have these communion with the elements, humans, animals, and everything else on Mother Gaia, we retrace the story. We get another piece of the puzzle, and we get knowing in our unity. So I welcome you all, and the topics I want to speak about today are the quantum human and the new earth codes. In my relationship with the galactics, this has been a consistent in all the empowerments, and that is returning to multi-dimensionality and quantum awareness. Actually, these two go hand in hand. I've been receiving these multi-dimensional messages for the last couple years, and they have been training myself in the quantum field since 2011. But there was another reminder I got a couple days ago to illustrate this point. And I have some notes on my screen, so I wanted to make sure I got everything in this short time. I was in a meditation, connecting in a practice to access the entire akashics of Earth civilization. Everything is downloadable, everything is requestable from this energetic field. And upon this request, I was immediately taken into ancient Egypt, into a place called the Halls of Amenti. At the gates of these great halls was the great master Thoth, who had heard about but never directly experienced. This ancient Atlantean master held a writing pad in his hand and was telepathically showing me to connect with the emerald tablets, and my answer was there. The tablets were vibrant, glowing green, and you can feel them buzzing. I could feel the immensity and pulsation of these tablets and paused in connecting with them as I knew this was going to be very powerful. The Master Thoth instructed me to touch them, and as I did, I was instantly pulled into the tablets. Green energy was all around me. Everything was alive, and it was clear that these tablets weren't necessarily a book, but an alive organism that contained the knowledge of all that is. I could kind of relate these tablets to a computer in our time containing information, but this information was more alive and breathingly conscious. The tablets wanted to teach me on the 7 levels that the human came to master in this reality. The first stage was the human came to master the animalistic element and the natural wild within us. I saw more wilder humans who mastered their natural instincts. Stage 2 was the human mastering their scientific intellect, and I was shown visions of what looked like Atlantean scientists. Stage 3 was harnessing the elements, and I was given a vision of indigenous tribes having their feet connected to Pachamama and getting the frequency of the natural realms. Stage 4 of the human mastery was pure heart medicine, being the living angelic presence on earth, being in service, being kind, radiating pure love. Stage 5, which I feel I'm in and bridging to 6, was the third eye human who is capable of receiving packets of data in the universe from all sources. Using your third eye rays, you can download information from any source, like a computer receives files. And to access this alive pranic database is to essentially decode energy and translate it into understanding and knowledge. Now, stage 6, which is, I feel, the basis of the new earth, is the human who masters the quantum field. This human is the one who harnesses timelines, multiverses, bending time, time travel, and accessing verses through the vehicle of consciousness. Finally, stage 7 was emerging into the unified field, a dissolution of identity and living in a God-realized place, one with all of Source and one with the entire energy field. I humbly give thanks for that experience and knew it was but a drop in the ocean from those tablets, but I felt it was given because it's important today to talk about stage 6 on those cycles, which is the quantum human. I personally feel this is where we are going and is the next stage of our collective evolution, especially as starseeds. Many of us find ourselves here, rediscovering our inner quantum conscious technology. And the quantum mind is much more different than the mind that humanity has been operating from in our lifetime from a general point of view. It provides an awareness for the higher dimensional fields to see time not from a linear perspective, but a non-linear perspective. And when I say mind, I'm not just referring to the logical part of the human, but the collective mind, body, spirit experience of consciousness experience through the quote-unquote individual. The quantum mind is the system upgrade and a byproduct of humanity entering the dimensional gateways. For each dimensional experience, there is an access to a specific type of intelligence for the beings to operate in. We have all graduated from the karma schools, lifetimes and samsara, and now find ourselves in the flux of dimensional gateways opening, which essentially will change the rules of the game we're in. The dimensional gateway is when two dimensional fields begin to intermingle, kind of like two rivers coming together. For example, the Ganga and Saraswati rivers. They are touching, but you can still distinguish which river is exact by its color and flow. Now, we can distinguish the dimensional fields from our energetical awareness as this 26,000 to 27,000 dimensional cycle completes. And it provides insight into why our world may look so fragmented during these times. We have essentially in our reality right now two fields coexisting side by side. And many of us, especially the ones here, find themselves gravitating to the higher dimensional fields while still being in what I like to call the old system. With these two forces here at once, it can be understandably confusing, similar to winter and summer somehow going back and forth. Do I put on my winter coat today? Do I wear shorts tomorrow? It can be challenging, especially with the fear narratives of the old world attempting to sway us in other directions. But from the vantage point of source creation, everything is serving everything, and death is always close to rebirth. They always walk side by side. What this means for us is we, as incarnated beings, are presented each from the soul level or conscious level with a dimensional choice of which dimension do we choose to access. Now, this is an amazing opportunity, and chances are if you're listening to this conference, your soul already knows you signed up for this dimensional shift. We must understand that we're all here to evolve on this journey of source, and we all have free will. And due to free will and the quantum field opening from the dimensional fields opening, Mother Earth is giving everybody the chance to experience the reality that they seek to experience. What this means is a separation of dimensional planes once we pass through the dimensional gates. And what this looks like is a karmic Earth and a fifth dimensional Earth, where we as light workers, starseeds, and ultra-terrestrial souls will most likely be. There is no doubt, family, that we have gathered here as in numbers, as light workers, starseeds, and ultra-terrestrial souls, for the greatest show in our universe is taking place in the dimensional split. We came to experience this. We came to experience different narratives and embed it into our Akashic soul knowledge, for there will come a time in the future where we will assess other planetary systems in them going through a similar path. So this is a time of death and rebirth. It can be scary and exhilarating, and there is no right or wrong because we're all in this game of source. So go easy on yourself, Steer One, as we are just in the beginning steps. So the new Earth is a byproduct of the dimensional gateways. And as we expand in frequency and as the two merging rivers slowly begin to separate, it will open something called the new Earth, which I'm sure is something you've all heard about. What this is exactly is a system upgrade to the entire foundation of life itself to adhere to an alternative octave or dimensional frequency. It is this dimension completely weaving itself and structure into a new reality. Even the supposed steadies of our reality, the molecular structure of atoms, electrons, neutrons, etc., is shifting as we reorganize. But what is especially reorganizing is ourselves. Like a computer having an operating system or OS, you too have an OS, an oversoul, and your oversoul and conscious self is in the process of upgrade. This new Earth is already available in the quantum space-time continuum, visible to many seekers who have already received the upgrades over the last decades and lifetimes. Before I knew this was all going on, I would go for hikes in Mother Earth, and I would just became aware through the third eye vision of this other reality. Everything looked very pristine, everything looked fresh, and it was very trippy to me, to say the least, to see these alternative realities. But as I begin to understand more and learn more, it was clear that I was given glimpses of an alternative dimensional Earth, which is intermingling with our reality. And this is the work that we do at Star Codes, which is to prepare the body and the mind and spirit for multi-dimensional experiences. Not just from a knowledge level, but from a DNA level and through galactic activations. So the galactics have teach us so much, and they must teach us eventually, or they are teaching us how to enter into galactic civilizations. Now, it is likely from my communications that certain civilizations, in particular the Maya, have already entered this new Earth. We've heard, just through my communications, I've learned that before Mexico was invaded, that certain Mayans went underground into the supposed Middle Earth. My understanding is these pure beings are now actually in the new Earth, and they're waiting for us. So this is a very fascinating time, and as we are in these dimensional gateways, we must understand that it's a gentle process. This is because there takes some altering, there takes some upgrades for our mind, body, and spirit to reside in that frequency. And this is the reason that purging has been such a main focus for many in their lifetimes in this time, many in this lifetime. These purging is essentially clearing out what cannot enter the next dimensional Earth and preparing our DNA to open itself to receive the new calibration. It's an exciting time, and from the terrain Earth perspective. So we are undertaking this new Earth shifting, but also our physical Earth is undertaking this process. And already on this planet, there are many gateways to the new Earth. In fact, these gateways have been here for a long time. Some like to call them the acupuncture points. Some like to call them the sacred sites. But these sacred sites have been seeded by the ancestors for this exact moment. Many sacred sites weren't just corresponding to the nadis on Earth, which is already true, but were seeded by our galactic and Earth ancestors of Atlantis, Lemuria, and gently at the beginning of Egypt. For these beings resided in the upper dimensional fields, which granted them the quantum lens to view the past, present, future, and see what is transpiring now. These portals, which have coded access, are the codes which are open through your vibration. So your vibration is actually the key to opening the dimensional gateways. And when I speak about your vibration, I'm not just referring to being grateful and eating healthy, which is very important, but also allowing the cosmic codes to calibrate with your DNA and cellular memory so your vibration naturally unlocks it. But back to the sacred sites. There's so much to share. I'm trying to get as much as possible. The sacred sites offer such a unique frequency and are glimpses into the new Earth. They are essentially holding down portals, which are when you enter a sacred site, you're kind of operating in a different time-space continuum. This is because these sacred sites are holding the frequency of the dimensions for this time. They've actually been holding the frequency of the dimensions for many lifetimes and are shifting now. Thanks to the work of the crystal grid workers and many light workers around the world, the sacred sites are not just needed to hold the space, but the entire planet is opening into this frequency. I was very lucky in my travels to go to all four corners of the world. And every time I stepped into a temple or a power spot on Mother Earth, I would receive so much information, but my conscious mind could not decode what was transpiring. Now in my life, all these files are starting to uncode that I received from 10 years ago. And I realized that what unlocks these files is calibrating your DNA and reopen yourself to the fifth dimension. So if you want to gain a glimpse of the new Earth, if you haven't already seen it, I invite you to look back to when you visited a power spot on Mother Earth or a sacred site where gravity operated differently, your energy field operated differently, and perhaps you had unique sensations. This is the great cosmic plan on Earth, to hold these frequencies into place. But now, thanks to our time, everywhere is opening to it. And we're not just needing sacred sites, but the sacred sites are turning into sacred beings, for you are the one now holding the codes. Many of the animals have already made this transition and have the ability to choose at will to enter the new dimensional Earth. And similar to this new Earth containing many different trees, species, and terrains, does the new human, or hue, have access to new tools. And these are the quantum tools of the quantum hue. A quantum human, I like to say the hues, the Palladians like to refer to us as hues because they're spectrums of light. The quantum hue is one who knows how to manipulate their own energy field through knowing themselves. And when you can re-engineer your inner field, existence will mirror back to you what you are feeling and decode reality to shape-shift everything around you. So essentially, when you re-engineer this, you re-engineer what is outside of you, because everything is a mirror holographic reality. Mother Earth, for the past years, has constantly telling me that the starseeds and light workers are going to get more responsibilities. I wasn't really sure what that meant by more responsibilities, but now receiving these new codex, it's clear in the fifth dimensional or dimensional Earth that consciousness coexists with outside reality much quicker. So what that means is your thoughts, intentions are going to manifest much more rapidly. And I've been given visions of us healing waters, growing trees, regenerating vegetation, cleaning the environment. And these are the tools that are given to us in this dimensional reality, which is the shape shift the Earth. So I'm going over the place here, and I normally don't read notes, but I wanted to honor the time. And the message is always clear from the galactics, and that is, you have the power, you have the power, you have the power. In our amnesia of this gravitational plane, we sometimes forget that we are indeed gods, goddesses, and co-creators with source creation. And a key tool on the stage to reclaiming our truest self is to connect with our quantum self, which will be a normal method of operating like breathing when we have fully entered that reality. I'm not going to give you a time frame of when this is going to occur, but the process has begun, and we accelerate it by choosing in this moment of dimensional rivers flowing which waters we choose to fully dive into. I thought it would be good at the end of this course, at the end of this talk, to have an experience, because at the end of the day, I'm all about experience. And when we get experience, we get self knowledge. And self knowledge is the way of these new beings. We reside in a time with so much information, there's countless topics, and everything seems to be contradicting itself. But when we go into the temple of our sacred being and we connect to knowledge, we connect to the previous histories and recover what is true, we gain an empowerment and we gain a clarity of what really happened. And this is the beauty of our physical temple, because if you look at Mama Gaia, and archaeologists can look at the different sediment layers and get an idea of the weather patterns and the story on Earth, so too in our being, in our flesh, in our genetics, in our DNA, we have embedded in us the story of the past and the story of the future. So I empower you all to honor the sacred temple you find yourself in. Honor your inner compass. Honor your inner knowing. Because this is the way to guide you during these times of limitless information. And oftentimes the information will be contradicting itself. This is the game of Source, and this has been created because the dimensional Earth is preparing you to find that heart compass within. And the more you attune to that heart compass, you disregard what society tells you, disregard what others are telling you, and you tap into your innate blueprint. That inner compass is going to naturally guide you to the way of the new Earth. The map is within you, dear family. The codes are within you. And we have the power within. I really like not looking at the screen, so I'm just going to get off that. And we're going to go into me. Okay. So I wanted to offer an experience for all of you. And as I mentioned, I work with many star races, and I was given just yesterday an activation to share with the group, and it's pretty potent and powerful, and it's going to serve as an initiation into us and the collective opening into their quantum awareness. So if you would like to partake in this, I invite you all to close your eyes and let's just do a little activation. So inviting you all to take a deep inhale, filling up your diaphragm, and letting go all on exhale. Once again, deep inhale, filling prana in your temple, and letting it out all on exhale with a sigh. One more deep inhale, biggest one yet, filling your diaphragm, and just let all out on exhale with a sigh, releasing all that doesn't serve you, and coming to this sacred moment. If we sit in council with the Earth family, the starseeds, the beings of dimensional knowing, higher dimensional knowing, who have been seated here for this time, have been seated here to take our species and teach our species a new way of operating from the heart space. Feel your sacred heart, dear ones. Feel that emanating from your essence. As we begin the quantum activation, And it begins with you connecting with your sacred self, perhaps feeling the vibration of your being. We're calling on the galactic teachers to be present with us, the galactic masters from Arcturus, who are very strong with us right now, the dimensional gatekeepers, the timekeepers, and our process is going to begin by you going back to a moment in your childhood, any moment that comes clear. And as you feel this moment, maybe you see it, inviting you to send your energy into that moment like you are experiencing it now. You're here as your youthful self. Just being there, and now taking a deep inhale and coming back to the present moment. Back to this time now moment. Now I'm going to invite you to go to a moment when you were a teenager. Think of any moment when you were a teenager. Maybe you see the vision or the energy, and inviting you to enter that moment in your teenage self. Breathing in and coming back into your sacred now moment. As we begin to calibrate the quantum timelines. Now inviting you to go into the energy of when Master Jesus was alive. Sananda. Inviting you to go there now. Just feel that energy and know you're feeling that energy from that time. And fully experience yourself in that time. And when you're ready, inhale back into the now moment. And now inviting you to connect with your galactic future self. And fully enter the energetical templates of your future galactic self. Oshanda Shamata 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 Dum Shanti Oma Shanta Shamata 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 Dum Omana Shanda Shamata Shamam. Taking an inhale, coming back into your sacred now moment. Oman Shanta Shamata Shamata Mom. Now we're going to start to go a little faster, okay? So just go with it. Inviting you to enter your teenage self. Once again. Back into the now moment. Inviting you to go into your galactic future self now. Back into the now moment. Inviting you to go into your child self now. Inhale. Inviting you to go into the time of Master Christ, Sananda. Inhale back. Inviting you to go to the time of ancient Egypt now. Shante Oma Shanta Shaman. Feel the frequencies of ancient Egypt. Shiomanda Shamanta 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 Tom. Inhale back into the now moment. And begin in your now moment to feel your childlike self simultaneously with your now moment. And as you feel your now moment with your child self, inviting you to feel the energies of being in Master Christ's time. Inhale back into the now self, inviting you into your galactic future self. And while you're in your galactic self, being aware of your teenage self. Simultaneously. And while you feel those two, inviting you to feel your childlike self now simultaneously. Feeling your now moment with all of them now. Inviting you to feel all those experiences now at the exact same moment. As the light language comes through and enters all those time-space continuums. Sound is beyond time. And feeling this conscious connection with all these existences that are happening at the exact moment now. And your current mind will be rewiring, connecting its left and right hemispheres. Just allow that process. It's a shifting. It's a shifting. Just being aware of all these time existences in the concurrent happening right now. And know you have access to the past, present, and future. This is your quantum self. And breathing that into your physical temple. So these quantum energies begin to intermingle with your cellular structure. Calibrate with your DNA. You have full permission to do it at any pace you wish with no wrongs, whether it's a droplet or the full door open. Feeling these multiple lifetimes and allowing these sounds to travel to all lifetimes. So there's a conscious understanding, a conscious network now occurring in the different time-space continuums, opening your quantum mind, quantum awareness, and knowing this is reality. For when we look at the stars in the universe, we are actually looking at the past, because light takes time to travel. And the past meeting the future is a truth, it's a scientific truth, is a reality. Breathing in, anchoring that by touch. You could touch certain parts of your body that seek to anchor in the quantum codes. This is a powerful activation, and it will rewire the thinking process. But we must surrender into these changes at our own pace with free will. It's connecting into heart space and inviting you to connect into heart space to all those time frames. Maybe you seek to expand it now to other civilizations, other lifetimes, other places that your consciousness seeks to intermingle with. And we give thanks. Finally, to conclude the practice, let's just breathe it all into the heart space. All those time experiences into the heart space. Feeling knowing that the heart is the access to the quantum field. And love transcends the boundaries of time and space. And you always have access to that. I love you, family. Love you, dear ones. May peace be on earth. May unity and unification be for all. Namaste.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love when people tell their journeys, especially through meditations and visiting places and astral projections, because those moments have profound effect on people listening to essentially try and find those paths themselves. And we were saying this last night that there's infinite paths to source, right? And you explaining yours helps others on their journey. So I appreciate you and I thank you, sir.
Love you guys. Sorry for one over time.
Oh,
Just
it's okay. All good.
Thank you, brother. And let me just say to everybody, Flo and I have been connected over the last few months. There's actually an influx of like men that are coming into my life that in the last 3 months that I feel like a deep connection to. That it's just happening very synchronistically at the same time because I did actually ask like 4 months ago to like start cultivating some deeper relationships with other men that are on their path and dedicated to this work. And at that same moment, I connected with you, connected with Truth Seeker, I connected with Tarek, and it's all within like 2 months. So I'm really excited, brother, like just to like know you and to collaborate because there's so many parallels into what we do and things that we can do together. So I just appreciate you, brother. I'm looking forward to what's in store for us.
I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to both of you and thanking you for this opportunity. It's always been a dream to be part of this. So I'm really grateful from the depths of my heart. And thank all the beings who connected in the Earth Council as we're just getting started. And just quickly, I'll say if you want to find out about our 7 Starseed activations, we do a 7-week course. Each week, we connect with a different race. You could check us out at star-codes, and it might be a portal to ascension in the future. So
Mm.
stay tuned for that. Once again, star-codes.com. Love you all, and
Thank you,
namaste.
bro.